Welcome back to another episode of the Utah Rental Property Insider.
Number 11.
Number 11.
We made it.
Oh. Nate Kilpack, one of your hosts.
Parker Nelson, your other host.
Repping the Fairlife today.
Gotta get your protein.
Yeah, second one. So,
There you go.
yeah.
2026 New Year's resolutions. Get the gains.
200 grams of protein, right? Are you supposed to match your body weight with your how many grams of protein?
That's a lot of protein.
That's a lot of protein. It's a lot of eggs.
Oh, man.
Just wanted to talk about kind of the changes in property management laws, licensing for this upcoming year. It's not in effect, but it is in proposal, and there's likely going to be a confirmation of a lot of this stuff. So I was in a meeting last week with RHA, the Rental Housing Association, and a lot of the main, like the big property management companies here in Utah, and how licenses are changing and what that means for property managers and also owners, and just the industry in general in Utah, because it's changing quite a bit. So
Nice.
let's get into it.
Yeah. So what did you find out?
Yeah.
So earlier, I guess mid to late last year, there was talks of a property management license coming along, because here in Utah, you can all you need is your real estate license to manage more than 6 properties, right? After 6 properties of not your own, you have to technically get your license.
Close, but yes. So for managing any third-party properties at all, you have to have a real estate license. So as far as managing your own properties, you can manage 1 million units. Doesn't really matter. So where the 6 number comes into effect is trust accounts. So if you are managing more than 6 properties on your 7th unit, you have to get an additional real estate trust account. So for us as a real estate brokerage, all brokerages have to have a real estate trust account, and this is for funds coming in, for earnest money deposits, for people buying and selling homes. So that's necessary. If you're managing properties as well on your 7th property, you have to get another trust account for that specifically. We would recommend the real estate trust structure is having one specifically for sales. And then if you're doing property management, having 3 additional. So you're going to be having one specifically for rents. And this comes into play into this licensing. We'll get into that. So you're going to have one for rents. So it's essentially your operating account. All your tenants are paying rents into there. And then you're going to be reimbursing your owner reserves account, which is going to be your second one. And then you'll have your security deposits account. So your security deposit account is not going to have a lot of money transferring in and out. Owner reserve will have any maintenance related things transferring in and out, and will be reimbursed by your rents account. So that's how we run it. That's how most people recommend running it. But that could all be changing, because trust accounts, at least if you're going to be separating your business into a different property management entity, not a real estate brokerage, which is what this new license is going to allow, you may be able to capture so with trust accounts in Utah, you can't be capturing any interest on any of the funds in that account. So that's one major complaint. It is federally insured up to $150,000, but there are a lot of other more beneficial accounts that will allow you to gain interest on these accounts. So which is one of the major reasons why property management companies are wanting to change this whole thing. So
Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
So what is going to be the new structure that they're working for?
Yeah, so structure-wise, to become a person that can manage properties for somebody else, and this would be, you don't have to go through the traditional path. They call it the traditional path, and then the property management specific path. So if you're wanting to do both still, real estate sales and property management, which is probably the majority of people, then you're still going to need to complete the 120-hour real estate course, take the test and pass, and then you'll be able to do both. There's a caveat to that. If the person that you're hanging your real estate license with doesn't allow property management in their brokerage, you're still not going to be able to do property management for them under their brokerage. And some brokerages probably won't even allow you to do property management with a separate license, which you would have to go get a separate license. And they're saying that it's 24 hours, something like that, for a property manager license, and then a principal property manager license, which is around 35 hours. So if you think of it like a principal broker at a brokerage, that is going to be a principal property manager, and their license hours is going to be around 35 hours. And then the property manager underneath them would be 24 hours. So currently in the brokerage, you'd have 120 hours for real estate agent, then you'd have 240 hours for real estate broker. So it's essentially double to become a broker, and you have to take a second test. So in this case, you just would get your property manager principal license, and then you'd have property managers be able to work underneath you, and there'd be two separate groups. So there's a lot of nuances to all of this and what that means and who can do it and what that looks like. But ultimately, that's the basics of it. We can get into it. You're
Yeah.
curious?
Yeah, very curious. I wasn't on the meeting, so I didn't hear any of the updates. And so with it, you can get your property management license without a real estate license, and can you get your principal property management license without your real estate license?
You can
now?
become a property manager and a principal property manager without
Wow.
any of the real estate stuff. You can go manage properties on your own, and if you're running that business, you can do it without trust accounts. So you can do it. It hasn't taken play yet, but likely what they're trying to push is to be able to use some of these. There's a lot of remote banks that are specific for property management companies to use. They're really great, have great products. They allow you to accrue interest on funds that are held. So if you have a few $100,000 in security deposits in your account, you'll be able to make interest on that as long as you have in your property management agreement with your owners that you can capture and utilize that interest. So in Utah right now, you can't use interest, you can't accrue interest outside of like donating whatever funds are captured for interest to charity or something like that, and you have to specify that in your property management agreement. So
super neat.
Yeah.
Interesting. So with people who already have their license now for real estate, are they going to have to get that property management license, or can you still just get your real estate license and do property management?
That's a good question. So it depends on your broker.
Nice.
So if your broker is allowing property management to happen in their same entity, so we do real estate sales and property management, and we have one company that does that. So that's how we're set up right now. Mission Real Estate LLC. It has a DBA of Mission Management, and we do both property management and real estate sales. So in the future, what could happen, and there's also something that exists right now, which is called a dual broker. It's kind of a they tried to accomplish this with dual brokerages, but so a principal broker can be a principal broker of their brokerage and then also a dual broker of a property management company. These companies can have different names. So not like a DBA, but separate companies. And so any agent underneath that brokerage who wants to do property management would have to get a dual agent license through the state. It's not extra work. It's not extra training. It's extra paperwork is all it is. And so if our company were set up like that, you would have to go get your extra paperwork done that way. But what this new proposed law, which would likely come into effect in July, I think this next year, is that if you wanted to go start your own property management company, and I was cool with that as the broker, then Parker could go get a property management principal license for 35 credits and go start your own property management company, and you'd be good to go. You can do sales with me. You can do property management with yourself. The thing is, they're trying to separate liability. So a lot of real estate sales companies don't want the liability of what property management has because there's a lot. It's a litigious industry, and so because of that, they're trying to separate it and move that liability to the individual who's actually practicing. So
neat, really neat. Now, just to put into perspective to the time frame of it, like getting your principal property management license at what they're saying, 35 hours?
Yeah, somewhere at 35 hours.
So if you did the class just an hour a day, an online course, hour a day, you can get licensed in about a month, maybe a little more, take the test, and you literally could start your career within 2 months.
Yep.
It's pretty wild to think about that. Like, real estate is so interesting to me in that sense. Like,
Yeah, I mean, so granted, property management is a very low margin business.
True, very low margin.
And you have to get quite a few clientele. Like your portfolio has to be fairly sizable before you'd be making any money. And I think they wanted to remove the barrier to entry to get in because, in reality, our real estate training that we went was focused almost 100% on sales. There's very few credits, very few things that we learned about property management through that training process. And yet we're fully licensed to do property management, which is kind of silly because from our experience in learning it, it's been actually practicing it. And so this would be specifically designed, the education would be around property managers and what to do and what not to do, and the laws around that with leasing and with owners and evictions and all that stuff. So
Oh yeah, and it'd probably be good for the education. Just take a course specifically on that to better prepare people.
Yeah, education-wise, it's going to make the industry in Utah better. It's going to be lower barrier to entry, so that there's going to be a lot of other people getting into it, which more competition could result in a better overall service. So those big dogs who've been running property management companies for a long, long time, it'll allow someone who's very business-minded to be able to go and compete on and provide a high level of service than others. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and if you're just getting in and thinking about doing the course and it comes along, a good tip too for that is like check out the big dogs reviews and find the reviews that people were upset with and then incorporate that into your business. It's like, well, they were missing out here, so like how can I better my business that way too? And so
yeah,
could change a lot of things. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I think ultimately it's going to be a good change, and it'll open for those that have been in property management and some of the problems and issues that they've experienced with the licensing structures in Utah. It will allow them to be able to run an actual business that will help them fulfill their goals and stuff. So I think, overall it's going to be a good thing.
Cool.
How's it going to impact property owners in the state of Utah? What do you think?
Probably going to, like we said, get better property management.
Yeah.
More people might start doing it because you don't have to take a 124-hour course. And so could start seeing a lot of smaller property management groups coming in and better quality, having the education around it.
Yeah. I think there's also some risk with that early on, maybe, that property managers who just get into it, they're not really going to get a lot of business likely if they're not doing a good job. So I think the market will just naturally weed those people out. But maybe at first there'll be a few that'll be like, just watch out for people that have zero experience.
Yeah.
Because probably run into problems.
Everybody's got to start somewhere, though.
Yeah.
But
you likely get a good deal, and there's likely a chance that someone that you sign up with early is going to provide a maximally high level of service for a really low price. But their prices probably won't stay that way forever if they want to stay in business. So we're going through that now.
Yeah.
We're doing some price changes in starting January. So we're adding in tenant placement fees. So something that we have only done occasionally for certain owners, depending on property. But now we're just across the board, we're adding tenant placement fees. So so that we can become profitable, period.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging business, but
it'll be fun. Well, 2026 will be fun, and I think that's all we got today.
Okay.
Right on.
Next time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.